Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. So we are at chapter 10 of Bhagavad Gita, the Vibhuti Yoga. And today we are going to do verse 41. And we are coming to an end of the chapter. So Bhagwan is concluding. This is Vibhuti Yoga. So Arjun wanted to know, how do I see Bhagwan and how do I see you in the world? And Bhagwan gave all kind of tips, 54 different examples. And then last verse, he said, there is no end to my divine glories. O Parantapa. Parantapa is the name of Arjun. But this is but a brief statement by me of the particular of my divine glories. So it's like somebody asking, show me electricity in every equipment or show me mud in every mud pot. Not possible, but he tried. Give them tips so that we can understand. So from there, that's how we see it. So with that, we go to verse 41. Yadyat vibhutimat sattvam shrimat urjitameva va taddevavagachatvam mam tejonsha sambhavam. Yadyat is whatever. Vibhutimat, glorious. Sattvam, यहाँ बोला है being, but it's a bigger meaning. जो सत चित आनंद का सत part होता है, the existence part, you can say, and then it has a few other meanings we'll see. Shrimat, Shrimat जैसे श्री बोलते हैं ना, prosperous. Shriman, Shrimati, that's why we add that, prosperous. Urjitam, जिसमें ऊर्जा भरी हुई हो, powerful. Okay? Eva, also, va, of. Tat, that. वो सब, that's what it means. जो भी powerful है, जिसमें ऊर्जा हो, श्रीमत हो, prosperous हो, the eva is only avagacha. Avagacha means know properly, know it, that this is tvam, you, mama is my, tejon sambhavam, manifestation of part of my splendor. So तेजा अंश संभवम, 3 वर्ड्स है इसमें, उसका एक संधि बना दिया. तेज सबको मालूम है, जिसमें बहुत ब्रिलियंस हो. और संभवम, ये वर्ड ना वो एक बहुत फेमस वर्स में आया है, जो बोलते हैं ना, यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य, उसका लास्ट पार्ट है संभवामि युगे युगे. संभवामि मीन्स प्रकट हो जाना, जैसे मैनिफेस्ट हो जाना, सो मेरे एक तेज के अंश से ये universe prakat hua hai, like that. That's what it means, that part. We'll see a little more detail. So main thing here, Bhagwan is concluding. So he's what he's doing is summarizing his Vibhuti Yoga over here, Yoga of Divine Glories, and telling Arjun that all forms of greatness, beauty, strength, intelligence, power, fame, prosperity, everything that amazing you see in this world, that's a tiny manifestation of my own divine energy. Tiny. So you can imagine what it is. The whole universe is tiny compared to what Bhagwan is. That's what it is. And then there are, different words. Okay, Yadyat Vibhutim Sattvam. That which is most glorious in this world. That which is most powerful in this world. And Urjitam, like I said, there is another word they use in English, great splendor and power. ऊर्जा भरी हुई हो जिसमें. और सत्व का मीनिंग यहाँ पर है, सात्विक भी बोल सकते हैं, but mainly, which is good, sattvic, or which has an existence. All of those meanings fit over here. And you understand, Arjuna, that this is from my, born from my tej, from my splendor only. That's what it means. So how Nikhilananji was explaining over here is that Bhagwan is telling about his yoga over here. So yoga means oneness. right? Yoga means to जुड़ जाना किसी चीज से. So पहले उन्होंने विस्तार बताया. विस्तार is the vibhuti, like spread of something, like you have this sugar and then you can make 100 different sweets from it. That's a vistar. But in every sweet, there is that sugar in there. See that? That's yoga. So that's how we have to look at it. So he's pointing to his yoga now. And the one very important point that he's telling, that all these vibhuti, they are from my little splendor. So we'll try to understand what that means. So we see that in this universe, there is so many kind of variety of things, right? And how do we understand this, that it's only a small part of Bhagwan? Because we think that the whole universe, that's what Bhagwan is. No, he's much more beyond that also. And he gave a brilliant example, okay? He said that when we go to sleep and when we see a dream, suppose I see some fantastical dream, which उसको सोच के मैं इतना खुश हो गया, इतना अच्छा ड्रीम था मेरा. वो ड्रीम कहाँ से आया? वो मेरे माइंड से आया, right? And I am so excited about that dream, but that dream came from a very small part of my mind. My mind is capable of doing lot more than just that little dream that came out of it. Firstly, it can make many different dreams. Every sleep I get, it can make another one. And beyond that, it is capable of doing so many things. Now put the same example of this universe. It's coming from Bhagwan, but Bhagwan is capable of a lot more. Or another, if this example you understood, great. If it doesn't fit properly, suppose there is some creative person out there. You can say that they know how to build something. Like the other day when I was walking on the beach, this person had made this beautiful castle with the sand. Okay, I was so fascinated. I started taking pictures, and people were taking pictures and all that. Does that mean that it was glorious and beautiful, right? Does that mean that fellow can only make that one castle? No, he's capable of doing God knows how many things. That's what it is, that even this universe is just a small part of Bhagwan, because we know it dissolves and comes back again. And then now they're talking about multiverses and all that. So that's what I was trying to, we have to look at it. And it was like Swamiji, Chinmayanandji, he gave another brilliant example. He's saying that, everybody loves Lord Krishna, right? Murli leke khade hai, vagara vagara, itna sundar unka पूरा विग्रह होता है. सो ही सेड कि वो भगवान कृष्ण का जो अंग वस्त्र होता है ना, उसके कोने में थोड़ा सा ऐसा हिलता है ना, वो यूनिवर्स है बस. जस्ट अ लिटिल पार्ट ऑफ इट. सो gave the kind of idea कि don't judge Krishna Bhagwan with just the universe. He's much more. Yeah, that was it gives me goosebumps, his example. It's so great. That's what he said. So that's where's the much more potential. Okay, so similarly, we saw that all this variety and all that is born from them. Let's see some other word. So Tej Ansha. Tej Ansha means Sambhavam is born from his, I discussed that also. And then basically what do we get out of it? That all these qualities, that whatever we see in this world, they are not independent, firstly. They are part of his, because here he's saying this is part of my Tej. That's the second part that we have to churn upon and meditate upon. So now it's a few more kind of explanations. It's the same thing, but they use their own words, their own little angle. So maybe it will go a little bit deeper into us. That Shankaracharya ji, how does he say? He says Tej, जो तेज अंश संभवम के बारे में उन्होंने कहा, the manifestations are merely coming from a portion of his power, Tejas. So that's the same thing he said. But a little bit deeper in that this keeps the devotee from getting deluded by the appearances. How do we get deluded? Kuch bhi acha hota hai na, so we start attributing it to some other independent causes. Oh, wo aadmi ne, my God, kya talent hai uska, usne ye sab kiya. It's great from the worldly perspective. That's what's fine. But from the spiritual angle, we should know that this is a manifestation of Bhagwan. See what I'm saying? That's what is the main thing, that anything glorious, fantastic, beautiful, कोई talent हो किसी का, कोई expression हो किसी का, dance, music, whatever you say, it is coming from that Bhagwan. That's the yoga we are talking about, So it points to that. And there's some deeper symbolism we can see what it is. This verse, what it does, it helps us to cultivate the divine vision. That's what Krishna Bhagwan's purpose was for Arjuna, to cultivate that divine vision. Instead of being attached to the individual object or some greatness, he's telling Arjuna that through Arjuna, us, we are encouraged to see them as parts of infinite, reminder of the Supreme. That's the whole idea. Because when Bhagwan says, you should never forget me, you should just remember me all time, and then we should not take it wrong, I have to sit and do bhajan all 24 hours. No. That's not what he meant. This is what he means, So, and then another thing, according to Shankaracharya ji, remember we need Vivek and Vairagya. Those were the two things Bhagwan said for meditation and to go higher in the spiritual path. Vairagya doesn't mean, dropping everything and sitting in a gufa. That's not what he meant. Vairagya means knowing the right relationship with the world. Don't get attached to the things that are going to change. So this helps us to develop that Vairagya. Because nothing is independent. That it is not my doing. When I'm born on this earth, I don't come with all the saman with me. It's provided by Bhagwan for me. Already there, My mother is there taking care of all this stuff, and all that is provided by him. So we develop Vairagya as well as Bhakti, because everything praiseworthy belongs to Krishna or God. Like our teacher used to say, कोई हम लोग को इतनी छोटा सा भी कुछ देता है ना, chewing gum भी देता है तो हम बोलते हैं thank you to people. Here he's giving you everything, And somebody gives you a very big gift, how much you feel like obliged and this and that. Create bhakti towards him. That was a very important thing. So it Vairagya, Bhakti, and the third thing was Samadrushti. That's very, very important in the spiritual thing. Equal vision. Koi uncha nicha nahi hai, because the same divine power pervades all. So whether somebody has this talent or that talent, or firstly, nobody is like totally useless in this world. Everybody can do something, no matter who you are. Like there is a saying, I think Swamiji said it or somebody said it, that if you cannot be this shining sun in the sky, then be a small light in your bedroom. That's also good. I like that a lot, And then another saying was very nice one too, which are now that I'm on the roll about all these, because I like all these little different quotes. This person said, I may be standing in the gutters, but I'm looking at the stars. Okay. So my drishti is somewhere higher. So these are good ones, for this. Anyway, coming back. This Madhusudan Saraswati ji, he has a little more bhakti angle. I mean, both of them do bhakti and gyan both, but still he has his own kind of take on this. So he said that, firstly he said that Bhagwan is concluding his instruction in chapter 10. We already discussed that. So he's just saying that I have given you few examples of vibhuti, but actually every excellence anywhere is my manifestation. So जो example दे दिया वो ठीक है, जो आने वाले हैं वो भी, because उन्होंने जो already हैं उसके बारे में बताया, but वो भी, हाँ. So Arjuna should stop seeking now list of vibhutis, huh? But see everything auspicious and glorious as Krishna's splendor. So that's what it is. Idea दे दिया. Now don't stick to those लिस्ट में, बिकॉज somebody will say, अरे भगवान ने ये तो बोला ही नहीं, तो इसका मतलब वो विभूति नहीं है भगवान की. Tomorrow I might see some glorious thing. No. That he's just telling you an idea. Don't get stuck. Don't get fanatic about it. That's what it is. And the other interesting definition of vibhuti, we already heard it's a vistar, it is glory and all that. He said that which excels others by greatness, beauty and power. When we are at awe, that, okay, I have, my God, I have never seen something like this, Bhagwan's vibhuti, straight. So that was a good point. And then urjitam ke liye unhone bola strength and energy. And we should understand that this is Krishna's effulgence. stage, and born of portion of his splendor. So he said the same thing also, like we said. And then he also said the same thing, that the glorious, whatever it is only a fraction of his limitless effulgence. But he gave a very beautiful analogy, so that will explain a little bit more. He's saying that suppose if the sunlight is there and is reflecting in a water. So then when we see it's reflecting, those rays come out, shiny rays. So each ray as though represents the sun only. It is made of the same material like sun, but it's reflecting. But it's not the whole sun, right? It's just a little fraction. So same way, all these greatness represent Bhagwan. It's a spark of Krishna. So I think that he gave like a beautiful example. So what does happen with this kind of thing? That the devotees, we develop spiritual visions. Same thing what we have heard before. And so this verse, what does it do? It trains us to see God everywhere. I mean, the kings and the sages, heroes, artists, nature's majesty, all of that we can see God, and others also. These are just examples. And then it inspires bhakti, which Shankaracharya ji said the same thing, and he's also saying. Most of the saints say the same thing. They may use different words. So everything should remind us of Krishna's glory. So, and then according to him, then we are coming to end of chapter 10, right? Next chapter is going to be a grand chapter, because the Vishwaroop Darshan, that will also blow our mind away. The description of it. And you will see towards the end, Arjuna could not handle, that, kabhi hum log bade excited ho jate. I want to see this, I want to see that. When the time comes, we get so scared, some 3D thing or, and all that we cannot handle. Same way. So Vishwaroop Darshan, this chapter prepared Arjuna. उसको ऐसे ही दिखा देते तो वो पहले ही बेहोश हो जाता, पर थोड़ी देर वो टिक पाया, okay, विश्वरूप में, because of this chapter. I thought it was a very interesting thing. It's a transition into Vishwaroop Darshan. Okay? Because having recognized individual glories and Krishna's splendor, he will be ready to see the entire universe as Krishna's cosmic form. That's what it is. That's a very interesting point he brought. And then another very important thing, that final take for a few things, that about this verse takes us to that non-dual, principle of Vedanta, oneness, because we are not independent of anything. Everything is Bhagwan's stage. So it reminds us of the non-dual thing. That all this greatness is not separate from the reality, is Brahman part of it only. Or it is Brahman at the core of it, whichever way you want to see. So the final take is seeing all these things in Krishna's manifestation, it dissolves the separateness from him and leads the seeker towards knowledge of the self. Gyan with devotion. So both Gyan and devotion develop ho jata hai isme. So that's what this verse is about. Any question or comment?
Umaji, this may be a very basic question, and I mean, some seems like that I didn't understand anything at all.
No, that's okay.
Are we talking about a being, or is it just an energy which we are devoting ourselves to?
Okay, that's a very interesting question. So when it comes to Vedanta, they take us to some different level only, because when we say a being, suddenly we think that Bhagwan is something different. It's a being over there. Right. He can manifest as anything. Right? He can manifest as a being. So don't misunderstand it. That's why we have avatars. Avatar is like, that's why Krishna Bhagwan, he's playing with the gopis and his gopas, and he's doing all these things. So he looks like a being only. But he is completely has oneness with that Brahman. We are also capable of doing that, but we are not there yet. So that's one question about being. When it comes to energy, there is a little bit confusion, the Vedanta doesn't look at Brahman as energy. They call it consciousness. Okay? When it comes to energy, from that perspective, energy is in the matter. That's why they say matter and energy can interchange. Energy can become matter, matter can become energy. So consciousness is separate from energy and matter. See what I'm saying? So when you use this word in Vedanta, it will cause confusion. But a lot of people, it is God's energy. You can say God's stage, yes. God's Shakti, yes. It's something like fire. How do you define fire? Very difficult, because fire capability is everywhere in the whole universe. Anything can start burning, right? But when it burns, then the light and the what you call tej comes out. Light and heat comes out, sorry. But it is unmanifested, it can manifest. But that fire at its core, I can't even define it. Think about it. Same way, Bhagwan potential is everywhere. When it expresses like a universe.
Got it.
So I don't know if that helps you to understand.
No, it does. It does. So I'm looking at it, as a consciousness versus energy.
Yeah.
It's two different things.
Two different
Don't
things.
look at it scientifically. Look at it spiritually.
Yes. So even science now, under the weight of all this, they are also cracking now, because they are saying that पहले उन्होंने वेस्ट में बोला था कि जो ब्रेन से कॉन्शियसनेस बनती है, अब उनको पता चल रहा है कि कॉन्शियसनेस इज सेपरेट फ्रॉम द ब्रेन. Brain is just an instrument that, the subtle body is expressing, and now they are, in every university, they have consciousness studies, because they are understanding now that there's something beyond. And then sometimes it is hard for us to grasp it from our mind, but that's why you have to go to the intuition part of it then. You have to kind of cross over the mind. Too much logic doesn't work.
Brahmaji, so when we say matter is energy, and when matter is created by God also, so everything is by God.
Yes,
so then beings or consciousness or matter, whatever you can name it, but it's all Paramatma or all Brahman. Right?
Yeah, it's all coming from Brahman, and that's what. But this is what happens to us, that especially when now things are changing. I told you, they are trying so hard to find the origin of life. बाप रे, इतना उन्होंने रिसर्च किया, ये किया, वो किया, क्या एक बीज नहीं बना सकते ये लोग? So life को क्या बनाएंगे? My God, So that's something very sacred, right? And then it's beyond, and then that's what it is. So in the end, that's why you need that surrender, and then the more understanding kind of dawns in us that it is something. And life, like Swamiji used to explain, when we talk about life, it is like beyond the body and all that, because we say life in the plant, life in the animal, and life in humans. There's some similarity in all three. Something is alive and something is dead. There is a similarity. So that life aspect is just, it's almost another splendor of that consciousness, that we feel. So that's how we have to kind of meditate upon it. Yeah. It takes time for it to sink in, but we just kind of chip away slowly,
Could you say all of it, sentient, insentient, is made of the 5 elements?
That's true.
And that is consciousness. And, we talk about the 5 subtle elements, and then we talk about the 5 elements. And whatever you see
is made of that, true.
Or whatever we are doing, every action, that's becomes a consciousness in it, Otherwise, it's insentient part, like stones, etc.
So now what you are saying, some people might have a confusion, then why is the stone not alive and why we are alive? Somebody might have that question. So the answer from Vedanta is there's a different expression of that consciousness.
Yes.
In the stone, it is just expressing the sat part of it, existence parts of it.
Yes.
Then you go a little further, there are, little bacteria and all that and come, or plants, you can say. Plant can breathe in and out. So plants are actually quite advanced if you think about it, And then comes animals. So animal में, mind डाल दिया मगर उसकी capacity बहुत थोड़ी है.
कम है.
एंड अभी हम लोग जब ये ऐत्रेय उपनिषद करेंगे ना तो बहुत अच्छे स्टोरी फॉर्म में बताया उसमें. तो पहले भगवान ने जो एनिमल्स वगैरह बनाए ना तो दिस 5 एलिमेंट्स सेड नहीं इसमें हमको सेटिस्फेक्शन नहीं बोला, कुछ और बनाओ बाबा. तो फिर भगवान ने फाइनली ह्यूमन बनाया, वो बहुत खुश हो गए. बिकॉज एंड देन इन क्रिश्चियनिटी ऑल्सो इट सेज दैट God created man means man and woman both, huh? So don't get to that, created in his own image.
Yes,
So-
and that's the final part.
Final. So that's why, and humans are capable of going to the highest. It's like
Again, there can be confusion. Okay, there's an image of God, but there is when you talk about Nirguna Brahman, there is no image. So here we are defining it.
Yes.
So we have to be very careful with terminology also.
yeah.
in
So
that
these
respect.
terminology can be confusing. So it is like I said that it's like some dancer is there when it's not dancing and just sitting, just chilling, and then when he comes, I want to dance now, then the dance comes out. So he's capable of dancing, but if sometimes he feel like, hey, I don't want to dance, same way Bhagwan say, I want to rest now, no more universe. लय हो जाएगा. And then he said, नहीं. Huh?
Maybe something else will come along.
Oh, yes.
Human beings,
Arey, something else may be there in this universe also. We don't know. We are just sitting in one little insignificant dot. From the current science also, they are very, why not life other places? And who knows what the expression will be. Like, there are some people who say that is earth में जैसे हम लोग को घर वर चाहिए ना रहने के लिए, because the climate is all, he's saying there are planets which a climate is so good that everybody lives outside only. You don't need a home. Who knows? Imagination can go anywhere. It's like our dream. I can create whatever fantastical dream, and some things, which was like fiction before, as becoming a complete reality. Driverless car and all that. हम लोग को तो सुन के डर लगता है, My son was asking, will you sit in it? I said, no. कोई भूत चला रहा हो जैसे, I don't know. So, I don't know. This new generation is more open to all these things, we are kind of scared. So, that's what it is, There is no end to how it can manifest everything. So.
You just said koi bhoot chala raha hai. So there is this invisible power which is kind of running the universe. Who knows?
I mean, that is the AI, right? AI is the same thing. Cars now, they can self-drive and this and that, they can do. And I'm slowly learning and I'm trying to trust it, but I'm scared about it. Yeah. Any other question? Okay, so we can read. Any volunteers to read?
I can read.
Great. Falguni ji.
Whatever that is glorious, prosperous, and powerful in any being, that know you to be a manifestation of a part of my splendor. The above examples have made a frail attempt to indicate the glories of the Lord, but in no sense can those descriptions be considered as having defined the truth. However, we have been given an idea that the divine, the imperishable, can be detected in the realm of the undivine and the perishable, if we took for it with discriminative judgment. From the above examples, it becomes evidently clear that the Lord is present in all names and forms, revealing himself as the glorious or the great or the mighty aspect in all things and beings.
So how he's saying, it's basically trying to say that it's so difficult to see infinite in the finite, right? You're taking this grand thing, and Hindi में एक कहावत है, गागर में सागर भरने वाली बात. Can I take a little pot and say I'm going to put the entire ocean? I cannot. That's what we are trying to do. But because Arjuna asked him, because we have the same questions, Krishna Bhagavan is very compassionate. So he made an attempt, but Swamiji is reminding us, and through Krishna Bhagavan only reminding us, that don't think that he has told him everything, because his divine glories are infinite. He's coming from infinity. And as we have discussed in the world also, we can see if somebody has one talent, can create, every day can create some new, like a poet can create a poetry. उसको बोला instantly बोलो तो वो बैठ के वही टाइम पे poetry बना देता है. The people who are really good at it. In his lifetime, there's an infinite. That's how we have to look at it. There's no end to his glory.
Here, Krishna directly summarizes what exactly constitutes the divine presence in the word of plurality and provides Arjuna with an acid taste in knowing it. Whatever that is, great or glorious or mighty, is nothing but the expression of a ray of the Lord's own infinite splendor. This is no doubt a wonderful summary of the above mentioned 54 assorted items. Each one of these examples is a clear-cut instance of indicating the Lord as either the great one in the whole species, or the noblest and the most glorious thing or happening, or as the most mighty among all that is powerful.
So here, we have discussed that वैसे तो भगवान everywhere is, but we become at awe when there is something great and things like that. So that's the only reason. Is otherwise Bhagwan next इसमें बोलेंगे कि I'm everywhere. So, and how much can I tell you? So I think we have really psychoanalyzed the whole thing very, very much. So I don't want to rub it more now. Just by now we should be able to see Bhagwan in everybody, everything and whatever we see. That's what it is. Yes.
This indication was given expressly to facilitate Arjuna's recognition of the immanent glory of the Lord in the things of the world. It can be equally useful for us, students of the Gita, in seeking and perceiving the play of the infinite among the finite and the changing phenomena of names and forms.
So, there are two words they use in Vedanta, eminent and transcendental. So it's like Bhagwan is both, which is a very big paradox, but that's the truth, that he is, beyond everything and he is also in everything. And the best example is the sunlight. In the daytime, sunlight shines everything, but it does not get contaminated. It can go over a gutter or it can do anything, or Ganga. Neither it becomes glorious more. It is glorious already. Nothing can touch it, but without that sunlight, we can't do anything on this earth. Same way, the eminence of it, Bhagwan is trying to show. That's what it's. And then we know play of the infinite among the finite. That's what the whole thing is. That's how we have to remember it. That through understanding this yoga of whatever he's talking about, glory and vibhuti and yoga, those are the two words that we have. If we understand that, we can connect to God.
In the end, pantingly concluding the enumerations, the Lord says.
So then that's the last verse, and we will do it next time. Any question in Bhagwan's conclusion? I think Bhagwan, besides convincing Arjuna, has convinced us also now. Okay, so I'll close Bhagavad Gita here. सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वा सर्वपापेभ्यः मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः हरिः ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम.